Fine, no.
Okay. Welcome back to the From the Fabricator podcast. I'm your host, Max Pearlstein. Thank you so much for stepping on into another, what I feel like is a great hour or so of just tremendous content. Two really talented people on the pod today, and excited to get to that. Before I do, obviously, got to thank the fine folks from FHC for their support of this podcast. FHC is now serving the Northeast glass and glazing community. There's a new manufacturing and distribution kit in town, now open. The new FHC New Jersey Supercenter brings 120,000 square feet of manufacturing and distribution to the New York metropolitan area, bringing a new level of products and service this region has been missing. Glass entrances, door hardware, frameless shower doors, architectural railing, commercial storefronts, transaction hardware, and glass and glazing tools and supplies. FHC has what you need. If you're tired of back orders, unanswered calls, ghost town customer service, and endless wait times, you now have a choice. Visit fhc-usa.com and experience the difference. Thank you to them for their support of this podcast. Also, just as a heads up, we've got BEC coming up pretty quickly. If you've not registered yet, do so at glass.org and hit the events tab and go to BEC and sign up. If you're on the fence, the two gentlemen coming up will get you off the fence. We've got Brad Thurman from General Glass International, GGI. He's a Louisville guy. He's very convincing about Louisville, but also fascinating career path to the industry. He's worked at a lot of places with a tremendous amount of success, and I think you'll get a kick out of that. And then on the other side of that, Paul Robinson, Pioneer, unbelievably cool story. He is just top notch. I consider him a good friend, and he's done a heck of a job in his career, and I think you'll get a kick out of his stories and his approach. He's got it. He really does. So that are the two for today. I think you're going to like it. Check them out, and then you'll see me on the other side with some TV talk and wrap up. But thank you so much for listening, watching, and let's go to Brad Thurman. Okay. Kicking it off this time out on From the Fabricator, I've got Brad Thurman, Vice President of Sales, Fabricated Products at GGI, General Glass International. You can find them online at generalglass.com. It's a great website. Brad, I've known you for a while. Thank you so much for doing this podcast.
Thanks, Max. Pleasure to be here.
Honor is all mine. I've been wanting to have you on for quite a while, and I'm glad we could make this work. And I always love this question, this starting off question, because I always learn something new. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, just the background that Brad has, it brings up 1,000 questions. But start with your past, where you were born, grew up, went to school, and your path to today, your origin story.
My origin story. So behind me is a whole bunch of bourbon. So you could say my origin starts with the brown liquor. I was born and raised in Kentucky.
Gotcha.
My grandfather used to run the stockyards here in Louisville. And back in the day, Pappy Van Winkle, now is huge, hard to get.
Yes.
They would trade cattle, and many times he was paid with Pappy Van Winkle.
Wow.
Now, my grandfather was also like a huge Baptist church guy, so would never drink. So we literally would start fires with Pappy Van Winkle.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Which is so hard to believe because today, it's thousands of dollars a bottle.
Yes.
And he had the real stuff from Julian and his grandfather to everybody all the way down.
Wow.
So,
all right.
Yeah. Origin story, again, born and raised here my entire life, just outside the city of Louisville in a small town called Fairdale. So small little community, very tight knit. Went to elementary, middle, and high school all right there together.
Mm-hmm.
And for college, I've always been a UAK fan.
Right.
Huge UAK following. Blue blood through and through.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go to college there.
Really?
I went to the other place.
You went to Louisville. Wow. That had to be a shock to the system a little bit.
It was, but it just worked out right. I was one of those guys who worked all the way through school full time.
Right.
And I had a job here working for a lumber company. And it just worked out. It worked out really well.
Great.
So we do have a divided house here. My wife I met at U of L.
Okay.
She is the only one that still pulls for them on every sport, no matter who they're playing.
Unreal. Okay.
So it's interesting here on game day.
I could imagine, especially when those two teams meet, and wild for you for being a fan of the Wildcats and having to go into Cardinal territory. That'd be something when you're an undergrad. You're probably really struggling to go to games.
Absolutely. And I would always wear a UK sweatshirt.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you graduated college, and when I got to know you, you were at CRL. What was your past, though? Your path to CRL and then to GGI.
So I got into the glass industry very, very much by accident.
Okay.
I graduated from the University of Louisville with a degree in business management.
Okay.
Now, I thought growing up my entire life that I wanted to be a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
So, I did the whole undergrad. I went through all the science classes and anatomy and physiology. Um, University of Louisville, as you go into your senior year of school, they're like, there's a lot of people that want to be biology majors or
Hmm.
science majors and go into medical school, but let's do an internship.
Okay.
So they make everybody go out and do an internship. And I always thought I was this big neurosurgeon. I really thought it'd be the great thing to do. And I got out there and I realized that that was not the lifestyle for me. Very
No
much
doubt.
so. Like I like helping people,
Hmm.
but the neurosurgeon that I followed, he would start his rounds at 6 in the morning.
Okay.
So we had to be in his office by 5 a.m. And we would do rounds, get breakfast, then go to his office from like say 9 until about 5:30,
Gotcha.
see patients. And then after that, go do rounds again. So you're finishing up about 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I was like, this just is not a quality of lifestyle that I want.
No, no, no. So you
So
got out.
exactly. So then, what do you do when you've got a lot of science and a lot of chemistry and all these other things? You're like, what degree can I do to get out on time? You can get a degree in business management.
There you go. Okay.
So I did, and it's proved very useful.
Yep.
First job I took out of college, I left working for the lumber yard and went to work selling industrial robotics and electrical supplies.
Okay. And this was probably before robotics really were like jumping, right? I mean, I don't want to age you, but nowadays they're on every street corner. So I mean, you're ahead of the game then.
Absolutely. So, I worked here in Louisville. There's a lot of automotive business.
Right.
So there's two Ford plants.
Hmm.
Then outside of Louisville, there is a Toyota facility. In Bowling Green is where the Corvettes are made.
Right.
So our company sold all of the robotics to these folks. They would
Okay.
take rolls of steel, put them on a press, stamp it, pick it up, move it, drill it, mill it, like super impressive stuff.
Yeah.
And then you move forward a little bit later. I leave that industry.
Hmm.
I'm thinking that I want to do something different to start a family that don't
Yeah.
require 1,000 hours a week. It seemed like,
Right.
and I applied online to this company that I'd never heard of. It's called Old Castle Glass.
Okay. Okay.
So it used to be an HGP facility here in Louisville,
Yep.
Kentucky,
Yep. I remember that.
and got hired on there. Well, before I got hired, I went in for an interview. I had a great interview. Um, I left thinking, wow, this is great. Maybe I'll get a call back. I get a call from somebody that wasn't in the interview. It's a guy named Jimmy Westfall.
Hmm.
And Jimmy was, I learned, was more like a regional operations guy for HGP. But he called me and he was like, hey, we're very interested in you coming to work for us. Um, how long have you been driving a truck? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you applied to be a truck driver. And the interview was great. So do you have a CDL? I have no idea what a CDL was.
Oh my gosh. You check a wrong box?
Apparently, I applied to the wrong job.
Wow. How things would have changed if you ended up being a truck driver. Okay.
Right.
All right. So that you got that straightened out, I assume, right? Of
We,
course.
we did, yeah. So I tell Jimmy that I must have just applied for the wrong job. I thought I was applying for a sales role. So he let me know that they were looking for an inside sales manager.
Okay.
So I went to work for Old Castle Glass in Louisville. And we competed against PDC and
Hmm.
Mid Ohio Tempering, names from the past that we don't hear from anymore.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. The classic names, Mid-Ohio, Jack Deo. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So that was my immersion getting into the business. I got to meet a guy shortly thereafter named Bob Burleth.
Hmm.
And Bob had told me, he said, this is a great industry to be in. What he had learned at that point is that people don't leave it.
It's
Once
right.
you're in, you're in.
That's right.
And so you look, you fast forward now, I'm 24 years into this industry.
Man, time flies. Time flies.
It's been amazing. So, I've had the opportunity since I left Old Castle. I went to work for Dorma Glass,
Hmm.
which has now become Dorma Cava.
Right.
And, my job there was to sell hardware to the eastern half of the country.
Right.
But my job description said sales manager for the Midwest. So I'm thinking like Kentucky all the way over to like maybe Minnesota.
Yeah.
It was more like Minnesota to Texas and everything east.
Oh my gosh, half the country, right?
Big territory. Had great mentors. Got to meet a lot of fabricators.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Great product line
Just
too at that time. Great product line.
absolutely amazing folks. And that's when I first crossed paths with GGI.
Right.
I
Okay.
started selling them Dorma door closers and overhead closers and rails. Great company,
Yeah.
just really well ran. It was family owned at the time.
Hmm.
Since then, they've merged with Dorma Cava.
Right.
I left as part of that transition, and I got to work with CRL, which
Hmm.
I think was probably one of the best companies to ever work for,
Right.
and got to work with amazing people. There I got obviously Don Freeze. You get to meet Don.
Yep.
I got to work directly with him along with Lloyd Talbert and Paul Daniels. Got to meet Andrew Herring, who was
Hmm.
young. He and I were
Yeah.
both pretty young at the business at that point.
Yep.
He was working on launching an architectural website. I was trying to teach CRL about getting your product specified and driving architectural specifications. So our paths crossed, and we've been intertwined ever since.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And then you jumped to GGI at that point.
I did, yeah. When Don Freeze let us know that he was going to sell the business, he asked us to stick around and help close the deal, and the work wasn't done. Keep up the
Right.
good work.
Yeah.
Um, at that point in time, it just didn't seem like it was a good fit for me any longer.
Right.
And a friend of mine, Steve Brenner,
Hmm.
had reached out to me and said, GGI is looking for somebody to lead up their sales team. What do you think?
Yeah.
And so I guess GGI had a party one evening uh, after one of the trade shows in
Hmm.
Vegas. So I went over there. Got to meet David and Steven and Richard that evening. And then we just continued our conversations ever since. It probably took, I don't know, 6 or 7 months before we finally came to the conclusion it was a good fit for both of us.
Perfect. Perfect. It's making, and we're going to talk about GGI in a second, but I just realized that I think I met you when you were at Old Castle in Louisville, because I think our paths crossed on some job that Louisville supplied. You had to supply a job in New York City for some reason. I want to think I was something making me think that you had to
Mhm.
ship it from Louisville to New York City. I'm not sure why I was involved, but I think that's when I met you for the first time. That's at least coming back into my brain. And then dropping names like Mr. Brenner, Steve Brenner. I mean, it's a classic, classic.
Yeah,
Having, I love it. Very cool. So you get the GGI, and those who don't know about GGI, this, really curious. I'm with Brad Thurman, Vice President of Sales, Fabricated Products, GGI, General Glass International, generalglass.com. Really interesting operation, not your typical operation at all, not your typical fabricator. You want to give everybody a little rundown on what GGI is, what you all do there?
absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity there.
Yeah, for sure.
So GGI is family run business,
Hmm.
started in 1900. So we're getting
Right.
ready to do 126 years in business. Um, it's a company that's got great cultural values. I mean, they want everybody to feel like they're part of the team. Your input is always sought. And what they've done is they've learned to adapt over the years. They went from folks that installed glass to importing glass to making glass
Yep.
to selling picture frame glass, which most people don't know that we do. We import glass from over 25 countries, and we allow other fabricators and glass shops to say, hey, I want one of these, two of those, one of them, put it on a truck, and we ship it out the next day.
Right.
And then in the 2000s, they bought a little glass fabricating business. And This business has grown to become a nice regional fabricator
Yeah.
that produces everything from your standard monolithic tempered glass to decorative printed glass to laminated to the most exotic and complex things you can think of.
Yeah.
But our really push behind all of it is that we have owners that say it's not up to anybody to say no in this company. Find a way to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that value just sticks with me very, very closely.
For sure, for sure. David Ballack is an incredible person. Probably the most enjoyable dinner partner you could ever have because he's just fascinating on so many different levels. And obviously his son Stephen and Richard Ballack all involved there. And I just look at GGI. A lot of people only know GGI for the Harlem Hospital, which probably drives you crazy because that seems to be like the job everybody puts up. Like here it's Harlem Hospital. It's a heck of an accomplishment. Those of you who don't know Harlem Hospital, Google it and use the imaging. And GGI, did an unbelievable, kind of a, brain busting job on the decorative. Now, you guys do that all the time. Does it ever like amaze you the detail and the lengths that you can go? I guess it does come from the thing of find a way to say yes, but it's got to amaze you. The craftsmanship, the work is astounding.
It really is. If you think of Harlem Hospital, if you go back to many years ago now, the design team at HOK, they were going to take and hand paint every individual IG unit. They were going to have an artist paint them overseas and then bring it back, laminate it, insulate it, and install it. And the way that David tells the story is that they had just purchased the Diptech machine.
Right.
He's meeting with HOK. He's telling them about the capabilities of it. And he was like, yeah, we can do that. They'd never ran the machine to that scale. They'd never done work of that nature.
Sounds like David.
And
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
And this project started from just drawings they'd found in the basement of the hospital.
Right. Right.
And so this is great artwork that they blew up to huge percentages compared to the original sketches. It ended up being like 429 laminated units,
Yeah.
13,000 square feet, all done on time and accurate. And it's something that stands out. But we do a lot more than just Harlem. Here recently, we've done a lot of public artwork.
Okay.
And this is a very unique concept where the artists come directly to us and they're giving us their vision. It's sketched on paper. Probably starts as a bar napkin and then evolves into something way more complex.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sampling. There's a lot of different colors, and our design team has learned how to master this machine, and we love it. Like I am so impressed just going through our sample room. We keep retain of a 12 by 12 of every project that we do.
Yeah.
And when you just walk through there, you truly are like Alice in Wonderland. There's so many amazing things to see and to look at. And you're like, how do people come up with this?
Yeah. Yeah, the mindset is amazing, and you guys do such incredible work. And I just think that when you kind of grow up, and it's funny when you're at Oldcastle, and it's meat and potatoes. You dabbled a little bit in decorative, but it's meat and potatoes. And then fast forward a few years, and you're at GGI, and you're doing these projects. You're doing meat and potatoes still. You're doing shower doors every day. But now you're doing this, and it's like, wow, you don't get bored. That's for sure.
Not at all. And many times you just got to pinch yourself because I get caught up a lot in the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we had a truck breakdown. All right. Well, I want to make sure the customer gets taken care of.
Yep.
So you get stuck in the grind of how do I make sure the customers are taken care of? And then you take a deep breath, you walk down the hallway and you're like, wow, look at this. This is going to be the next sculpture that goes up on the outside of a train station. Or you go down the hallway and we're doing a mock-up for the Moynihan train station,
Mm-hmm.
where they've hired actors to come back and do a replica of the 1930s of people leaving and departing this thing. And it's just so impressive. And you just want to pinch yourself and make sure you're still awake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you're in a great place, that's for sure. I'm loving everything you got going. I've got Brad Thurman with me, Vice President of Sales, Fabricated Products at GGI, General Glass International. Everything we're talking about, you can check out on their website at generalglass.com. There's a lot to see, quite frankly. So check that out. switching gears a little bit, you and I are on the same page when it comes to adaptive reuse. You had a incredible article recently about it. I just I just want to see it keep growing. How are you feeling about it? Is it getting better? I mean, especially because you live in Kentucky, but I know you go to New York quite a bit, obviously for work. You travel all over the place. Are you seeing any growth? Are you seeing any traction? Because I think it's great for our industry, quite frankly. How are you feeling about it? What's it look like in the future for adaptive reuse?
I think a couple of things really need to come to the forefront on adaptive reuse. One of the things is we need to publicize it more. It's
Yep.
happening every day.
Yeah.
People get focused on, wow, there's a new tower going up or there's a crane over here. No, take a look in almost any major city. They're retrofitting office space
Yeah.
to make it multifamily, mixed use spaces. It's huge. And those spaces will turn over multiple times in the course of that building's life.
Yeah.
You look at just some of the amazing things that have happened. If you look at jobs like we have done recently, we did a job at Georgetown. It was 111 Mass Avenue.
Hmm.
This was an old building that people called Darth Vader. It was just old and just rough looking and not a lot of visible light. We worked with one of our glazing partners, S. Albert, and
Hmm.
they renovated the entire inside of it. They brought in more natural light. We did decorative elements to help control the daylighting, make glass boards. I mean, this was a space people didn't want to go into.
Yeah.
And now they rave about it, how beautiful it is
Yeah.
and how modern it is. I
Yeah.
mentioned the Moynihan train station a minute ago, the train halls, the official name. That was an old space that was just kind of forgotten about. And now it's beautiful and it's, winning a lot of awards for the architectural elements of it. And we have to do more of that.
Yeah.
We're going to run out of, land, and we're going to turn so much carbon footprint and building new stuff. Why
Yeah.
not already use the embedded carbon footprints that are there and reutilize those spaces?
That's what's driven me crazy over the years is not reusing things and building something brand new next to something that could be retrofitted and remodeled. That makes me bonkers. But love hearing about the Darth Vader aspect because glass made the difference there and changed it. And obviously, as we're name dropping names, Michael Albert, Stephen Albert, great people, legendary company. So it makes sense the two of you team up and just knock it out of the ballpark. I think we got to do more and more of that.
Totally agree.
Very cool.
Totally agree. And we're not hugely known as a company to do a lot of A&D work,
Right.
but we're working on that. And one of the areas that people come to us for is ideas on how to do more of this reuse.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got into that. Maybe it's some of the thought stuff that we put out there, but I'd love to do more of it. Love to help other people get into it. This isn't just a GGI thing. This is a world issue,
Yeah.
and it's something that we need to keep pushing collectively.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And your articles, make a difference. So yeah, that helps keep that train on the tracks. So I love it. Mixing it up a little bit, I always ask about halfway through the podcast a fun question, and you may have already answered this when you were talking about your career, but we got to go back further. Neurosurgeon's one thing, but when you were a little kid, when you were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, what did Brad Thurman want to be when he grew up? It couldn't have been a neurosurgeon at that age. No way.
I'm a nerdy person, so
Okay.
yeah, it was
No
my
way.
my dad worked as a nurse in the operating room for neurosurgeons and
Okay.
had done it for a long time. In the mid 80s, he moved to Las Vegas and he started working for a neurosurgeon out there by the name of Dr. Hammergren.
Okay.
And this guy bought like all the old Las Vegas signs and
Okay.
he would put them in his backyard. So he
Okay.
had like the Dune sign that was out there and just all that stuff. And I thought that was an amazing lifestyle. I thought it was really neat. And then as I would go and visit my dad in the summers, I would get invited to like oversee the surgery and
Okay.
look down and things. And I was like, this is awesome. It's thoroughly just kind of brainwashed me into being in that realm, in that world.
So you did want to be a neurosurgeon. So that's cool. All
Yeah.
right. I'm thankful that you didn't end up there just because A, I think, you have a better life now. And B, we're thrilled to have you in the industry. You've made a hell of an impact in our industry. And so, it's a wonderful life thing. What would happen if the industry didn't have Brad Thurman? There'd be some big holes. some big
Yeah,
holes
you're
that
very kind.
you've done a great job of working on. So I love that's what you wanted to be. So I give you credit. You were ahead of the game, my friend, wanting to be that as a youngster. All right, we talked a little bit about the Louisville factory. You're from there, and we've got BEC coming to Louisville March 1st. It's coming up in about a month. For those of you listening right away, and it's been an interesting process having BEC in Louisville. It is your stomping grounds, and so I think Louisville's a great city. I think there's lots to do. I think it's just I think it's extremely underrated as a city and as an area and has a location for BEC. So those who are on the fence about Louisville, don't understand Louisville, give them a little pitch, on this great city that you have there and why it's going to be great for BEC.
I'm probably not the director of tourism for a reason for the state of Kentucky because we like to keep it a hidden gem.
There you go. Okay, makes sense.
But
Yeah,
but honestly, Kentucky, first of all, it's one of the only states that gets all four seasons in equal amounts.
right.
So you get the spring, the winter, the fall, the autumn, summer. It's amazing.
Yeah,
But beyond just that, it's an atmosphere. It's a town of people that just care.
yeah,
They care about what you do. They want you to have a good experience. Certainly, the bourbon boom has made a huge difference. It's a big influx of capital
yep,
into the Commonwealth, and there's a lot to do with bourbon. If you like bourbon, certainly I encourage you to take it all in. But beyond just bourbon, there's so many unique things. Like when we're at BEC and we're downtown Louisville,
yeah.
outside of New York City, Louisville is like the largest concentration of cast iron architecture.
Interesting.
So great old buildings where you can just walk
Nice.
around and stick magnets on it and it sticks.
Love it.
Whiskey Row, that whole area on the Ohio River, those buildings were built by whiskey barons,
Hmm.
right? And now they've been renovated to be shopping and entertainment. World class food now in the state of Kentucky is amazing.
Yep.
You have the Hilrick and Bradsby Museum. So if you like Louisville Slugger bats,
Yep.
they're all made right there.
You can get
You
it.
get
You
to
can get
see
a
it.
custom one for yourself too. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. I have one
Yes.
here on the shelf. A buddy of mine got married, and that was the groomsman gifts.
Nice gift. Good call by the buddy. Love it.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
beyond that, you've got horse racing.
Yep. Derby.
And it is something a lot of folks don't know much about. Everybody hears about the Derby and the fastest 2 minutes of sports.
Hmm.
And certainly Churchill Downs is amazing. It's a great place to visit and to tour. But take a step back and learn more about the culture of horse racing in the entire state.
Yeah.
It's a multi-billion-dollar business that starts from inception all the way through breeding and training
Yeah.
and racing these horses. They're just amazing.
Yeah.
So I think Kentucky's kind of got a little bit of it all. The lakes are amazing. We're lake enthusiasts, so we spend a lot of time on the lakes, and there's plenty of them here.
Yeah, I think it's great. And it's funny because I've always looked at the progression of like the quote unquote hot cities in America. And I always looked at it as Atlanta was hot and that kind of led to Charlotte being hot. Charlotte being hot, to me led to a little bit more of Nashville just taking off and Nashville just going crazy. And to me, the next one in line is Louisville. I just think that the way that progression is of great cities with fun things to do, lots to do, welcoming atmosphere sort of thing. And that's what I had in mind with BEC was I really felt like, this was a great place to introduce people to who didn't, who may not have known anything. And I think people are going to have a blast, don't you? I mean, I just think that this industry can have fun in a broom closet. I mean, but
Absolutely.
I got to think that they're going to have a blast in Louisville.
I think they will. I was fortunate enough to chat with some of the team at the NGA putting this together and
Yep.
give some input. And I think they've done a great job of curating what we're going to do, what's going to be available.
Awesome.
And I'm anxious for people to get to see it and experience it.
For sure, for sure. I've got Brad Thurman with me, Vice President of Sales, Fabricated Products at GGI, General Glass International. GeneralGlass.com is the website. So on BEC, before we leave that, you do go yearly, and I believe you've been probably, at least double digit times, if into the 20s maybe, like people like me. What do you tell somebody who's never been to BEC why they should attend? Because it is a unique show when all is said and done.
I totally agree. I first went to BEC at the kind of the request of one of my colleagues that I worked with. They were telling me about how it was a nice, intimate show. You got to meet with all the key people that make decisions,
Yep.
from fabricators to large glazing contractors to medium-sized glazing contractors. And then you got to meet key decision makers at a lot of the suppliers.
Yeah.
And it is still that to this day, but it's grown just a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And now it's become like a premier place to go to learn stuff. So not only the networking aspect, which I think is invaluable, but a few years back, I think we had Stephanie Couch there talking about
Yeah.
AI. Ever since then, I've been talking about AI nonstop.
Ahead of the game there. She was on the cutting edge. That was on the cutting edge when she brought it out at BEC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think you got it. I mean, I just think that you're right about the decision makers are there, the learning is there, but you always just pick up business intelligence there, and I can't rave enough about it. But it sometimes people just they don't believe me when I tell them. So it's nice to hear it, have you talk about it versus me because people look at me as a paid shill. I just live it though. I would that's my world. But I think you would attest that it's been worth it for your career.
It definitely has. And something I would advocate anybody to go and attend it. I mean, if you're on the fence about it, I think it's like anything else in life. Take a chance, go there, experience it, have a little bit of a plan. Don't map every second out, but think about it. What do you want to learn? Look at the agenda for this year.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive
Yeah.
what's available for you to learn.
Yeah, there is a lot. There's something for everybody. So very cool. Appreciate the breakdown. And we'll see. It's March 1st to the 3rd in Louisville, Kentucky. Glass.org and hit the events button and you'll get registered and then you'll get to see people like me and Brad there and among many others. And it's well worth it. So a couple more questions because I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of balls in the air, and I don't want David Ballack watching this and saying, "Why aren't you out selling something?" versus talking to that schmoo Max,
I
because
don't
he
think he'll
probably
ever
would
say that.
say that. It's like, come on,
Nah.
man. What's got you excited about the industry right now, especially given your past? You've been here for the ups, you've been here for the downs, you've survived a bunch of different moves, you've worked for different people. But what's got you excited about our industry right now?
And what has me the most excited is a very basic word. It's change.
Hmm.
There is a lot of change taking place in our industry. And I'm super excited when I look around and I see new faces, see young faces.
Yeah,
I see young leaders coming into the business.
yeah,
I see folks entering from different industries saying, wow, I want to try this glass thing out. And they're doing great things. I love that. I'm also intrigued and kind of watching from the sidelines, seeing what private equity is doing to our industry.
yeah. No, yeah. It's a different world now. Yes.
So that's interesting to watch. And I look at how is private equity going to change these companies and the culture and where they go moving forward, and how will it change our industry? I'm
And it,
also excited. Sorry, you got something you want to say
no,
there?
go ahead. Go ahead. Finish. I'm sorry.
All
Yeah.
right. The other thing that has got me super excited when we talk about change is new companies in the business.
Hmm.
And these aren't like companies that are just come from nowhere.
Yeah.
They're legendary people building brand new companies and doing great things.
Yeah.
I look at FHC,
Hmm.
great group of folks that I worked with at Sierra Lawrence, some that I didn't. They're taking the world by storm. They're doing great work.
Yeah.
I look at Area Vetri, a little hardware company that kind of came from nowhere, doing great work. I look at the innovation that comes out of these folks. Um, I was looking at a thing from Rockwood the other day about their new panic device.
Hmm.
Everybody knows the little triple snowman cutout that we've had in the Bloomcraft panics for forever.
Yeah.
Rockwood said, why do we got to do that? Let's do something different. Let's change that cutout. And then now they're saying, well, let's add a Pullman latch to it. Let's electrify this. So we're getting change, and it's happening faster and faster and faster. And it just, I'm in awe. I love this
Yeah.
because coming from the industrial robotics industry to the glass industry, I felt we were behind the times.
Yeah.
Like I remember people talking about getting a robot, and it was just their first Corvette.
Yeah.
It wasn't a robot,
Was a robot, right?
but it was a lot better than back in the day when I was drilling glass, top down, bottom up, laying everything out with grease pencils.
Yeah.
But no, the Corvette, you slide it in, it drills it, mills it good.
Yeah.
Now, we've got robots grabbing the glass, laying it down, cutting it, shoving it into the milling and drilling stations and washing it and tempering it. We're finally catching up with other industries.
come a long way. Come a long way. We've been behind, and I think we're getting better and better. And you're seeing more and more people understanding that robotics and true automation is the way to go. I think people were scared of it, and they shouldn't be. But you nailed it there. There's a lot there with that, and obviously the ownership thing bears a lot of watching. Because it is a massive impact and effect on our industry. So you have to really pay attention to that. And I love the comment about the younger folks and the change. Like at BEC, we're going to have a panel with three young up and comers who are taking over their businesses. Patrick Murphy out of Texas, Emily Yukish out of Pittsburgh, and Evan Afner out of San Diego. Incredibly talented people, and they're like a breath of fresh air. That they're breathing, and we need as much as that as we can get. And so I appreciate you bringing that up, and I'm glad you're seeing it.
Absolutely. I think it's pivotal.
Yeah. Yeah. For us to survive, it is absolutely pivotal. One more question for Brad Thurman, Vice President of Sales, Fabricator Products at GGI. See him at generalglass.com. So the forecast, it's funny. You do cover a lot of different territories. You do cover a lot of different SKUs and products that you sell. You talked about it earlier about bringing in materials and selling everything from big to small and everything in between. What's the forecast looking for the rest of 2026? I mean, you deal with so many customers, it's probably hard for you to just put a blanket on it. But what's your gut feel? Do you feel like we're headed in the right direction in 2026? Do we just have to hold on to 27? What's your feel out there?
I think it depends on the day, how many cups of coffee I've had, and what
Right,
products we're talking about.
right,
Overall, my gut feeling is that 26 is going to be better than 25. I can't say it's going to be double digits better, but I
right.
think it's going to be better.
Good.
And I say that based off of conversations we have with our customers,
Hmm.
conversations with architects and designers, conversations with general contractors.
Yeah.
They all seem to have work in the pipeline that's going to be funded and released this year.
It needs to come. That's the whole thing. That sliding backlog needs to come. And plus, I assume that Scotty Cook has promised you that it's going to be a huge year. I can get away with that since I'm related to him. But he promised you big year, big year. He's going to blow out all the numbers.
He just had a birthday on Friday,
Hmm.
and he was telling me how old he was. And I was like, you've built this pipeline. You got to stick around for at least 5 or 6 more years so we
Yeah,
can finish selling it all.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
he
Go ahead.
does grind it out. He has done a tremendous job leading our fabricated sales team and our boom truck business, and he's got a good pulse on it.
He's one of the best pure salesmen. I know we're off the beaten path a little bit, but he's one of the best pure salespeople I've ever been around because he's sold everything in his life. He sold light bulbs and hardware and who knows what else, but he's a pure professional salesperson, which is great for you guys.
Absolutely, and he's an advocate for the customer.
Yes, yes. And that's what you want from your salespeople, and that's usually when you get the battles between sales and operations because the
Yeah,
salespeople need it and the operations people are saying, hey, we can only do so much. And you, Brad, you're probably the tiebreaker most of the time.
I wish I was, but I'll tell you, I'm very blessed. We have a VP of operations. Her name's Christina Antunes.
Yes, incredible talent. Yes, yes.
Absolutely, the most remarkable operations person I've ever met.
Yep.
Probably was one of the key factors for me coming to work for GGI. As me leading kind of the sales aspect of it and marketing, she's leading the operations and all the hands-on stuff. It's very rare that we butt heads.
Nice. You're in
Very
tune.
rare.
You're in tune.
We're very much focused on taking care of the customer. Last week we had snow, and it just decimated our delivery schedule, our
Yeah.
production schedules. And Christina's entire team was beside themselves because they felt they were letting the customers down. So not only did they come in early, they stayed late. They worked on the weekends.
Yeah.
We didn't have to ask them. They just did it.
That's what you want. That's what you want. Well, it's a hell of a culture. You said that right out of the top. The culture there is key, and so it's playing, and you fit well there, my friend. And I'm just thrilled that you took some time to do this podcast, and I can't wait to see you in Louisville very very soon for BEC. So continue to we'll keep pumping it up, and you'll bring a lot of Pappy Van Winkle for everybody for free, and we'll have a good time
You
at,
may
at
get me in
BEC.
trouble there.
There you go. No, but thank you so much for doing the podcast. I really appreciate it. Brad Thurman, Vice President of Sales, Fabricated Products at GGI, General Glass International, generalglass.com. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, Max. It's my pleasure.
See you soon. Thanks.
Hey Glazers and Fabricators, FHC, the frameless hardware company, is here to support your business. In addition to offering a complete selection of glazing tools and supplies to get the job done right, we design, engineer, and manufacture a comprehensive offering of frameless shower door systems, heavy glass doors, aluminum entrances and storefronts, architectural railings, transaction and display hardware, privately owned and American made. FHC prioritizes you, the customer. You now have a choice. Visit fhc-usa.com.
Okay. I'm really thrilled for this one. Paul Robinson, CEO, Pioneer Cladding and Glazing Systems. You can find them online at pioneerglazing.com. And I'm pumped because I've known Paul a long time, but this is a great chance for a deep dive. And I'm a huge fan of Pioneer and everything they've done. Paul, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Oh, thanks, Max. Thanks for having me on here. And it's great to see you again.
Great to see you. Look forward to digging into this and obviously seeing you in person here very, very soon. I always start with the background story, your journey, the origin story sort of thing. So let's talk about, where Paul Robinson was born, went to, grew up, went to school, and all the way to your path to current day at Pioneer.
All right. So I was born in Huntington, West Virginia, many a moon ago.
Okay.
Grew up in the West Virginia area, kind of moved around a little bit, lived in DC a little bit, but primarily was raised in the West Virginia area. So 18 years old, I'm still trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life and kind of just took a job just to get me by.
Mm-hmm.
And it was working in a small shop that I didn't know anything about, but it was cutting mullions that would eventually go in and have glass glazed into them.
Wow.
So 18 years old, trying to figure out what I want to do with life. And I happened to find a curtain wall company.
Unbelievable. All right. Yeah, this is great. I had no idea.
Started there, kind of worked my way up there, ended up joining the union, 1195 out of Charleston right there.
Yep.
Later that summer, and been in glazing since. Kind of bounced around a little bit. Only really worked with a few companies. A small company that I grew up with there, Tumler, out of the Taste Valley area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up moving to Columbus and going to work for Harman, and worked for Harman for some years.
Mm-hmm.
And then had the opportunity to move down to Cincinnati with Harman.
Mm-hmm.
And then ended up coming over here to Pioneer, where I am now. Came to Pioneer in 2008 as a project manager.
Right.
Had the ability to kind of lead some pretty cool projects and be a part of some cool front end design assist things. And kind of like a turn in my career, which was a little bit off, as I was sitting with Tom Heinold, the owner at the time, the CEO, and we were talking about engineering and our growth in engineering, and how hard it is to get engineering leaders in there. And I told him, I was like, well, what you need is a project manager to manage engineers. And he said, is that you volunteering? And I said, well, I guess. So I ended up being kind of put over top the engineering group, and it was really an inflection point in my career and growth of, coming from the field, going to project management. I just told people what I knew. I just helped them by showing them because of experience. But it really opened me up to what leadership looks like when you're leading a group of people who are way smarter and know way more than you. And it really changed the way I kind of looked at leadership and working with people, not being their manager, but being more of, a blocker and tackler for them.
Perfect. A few things to unpack. First, growing up in Huntington, yet you have an Ohio State helmet on your bookshelf back there. You're not a Marshall fan, or a West Virginia fan? Either way.
I like Marshall. I like WVU. I
Okay.
love OSU. Watching Eddie George, watching those guys grow up, I just become a fan. I'm a huge sports fan, huge sports guy in general. I do still watch WVU and Marshall as well. So
Gotcha. I am too. So yeah, good taste. And Pioneer, for those who don't know, I'm going to ask you, talk about a little bit about Pioneer. But for me, I was heavily involved in the industry when it got started in 2008. When Tom and you guys got going, and it's just amazing. You've got to look back at that and be like, wow, what a run.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. I'm not sure it's exactly what Tom and Tim originally intended. They kind of wanted to start something that was more mom and pop, and then we started growing really fast. And what they did is they really kind of said, you know what, we think we can be big and grow and supply this to all these people and their families and still do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I took over at CEO 4 years ago, and it's really it's really about remembering that image. And a lot of our, when we talk about our strategies and we're sitting down with our teams and putting it together, we really do focus on the employee side of it and the eccentric side of the employees. And 2018, we became an ESOP.
Okay.
So I think that kind of fulfilled Tom and Tim's dream of what they had. And now it's really just about, hey, we can do this, we can be big, we can do cool things, and we can still be a fun place to work and get to know each other.
Nice, nice, and another successful ESOP in our industry. That's a great angle. For those who don't know about Pioneer, obviously I just kind of hinted about a little bit about you guys, but for those who don't know, what's the specialty? What's Pioneer? What sandbox do you guys play in?
Yeah, so we really focus more on the design assist customer satisfaction front end. I mean, curtain wall is curtain wall. We all do it. We all have a lot of similarities. We all have a lot of differences. We really try to focus in on a little bit more, architectural things that are really hard to do and kind of that be our niche. We do have about 40 engineers on staff, so we focus really heavily on how do we make this work. In particular, we tend to focus a lot on the hospital and the medical area, in particular, children's hospitals. We do a lot of children's hospitals. And I think we just pair well on the front end of these design assists and how we kind of work with that team on the front end. That's really, I think, what we're striving to do and to separate ourselves a little bit.
No doubt, no doubt. I got Paul Robinson, CEO of Pioneer Cladding and Glazing Systems. See them online and everything. He just talked about some of the amazing projects they have at pioneerglazing.com. So you work your way up to CEO, and what's interesting is that you legitimately worked your way up to CEO, and it was definitely not anointed and handed to you. You earned every bit of it. I got to ask though, how was it when you got in there? Was it different? Did anything surprise you? Is there a secret club and a secret handshake that you can share with us? I mean, what was it like, and did anything catch you off guard?
You know what? I think I'm still trying to figure that out. The CEO thing to me just means that, I'm up here making decisions, but I've spent my entire career focused on the people side of what we do. And I know everybody says that, but I'm the sports guy. I'm the doing it as a team. And
Yeah.
really, I think, I love some of the strategy and the looking out there and knowing what we can do and getting the information. But at the end of the day, I still think my job is to remove obstacles for everybody around me. If I can remove an obstacle and make their job easier, I think that's ultimately my goal. I know there's probably a lot more for CEOs that I'll figure out one day, but for now, I'm just putting the best people up front and getting things out of their way.
I like the coach analogy because I look at it as you and Nick Saban, two best coaches ever to come out of West Virginia.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, I like that.
Who else is pretty good too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a nice little trio. So in your time, again, what's interesting is that you started, all the way back, cutting extrusions and handling and union labor and so on. What do you think the biggest change has been from way back in those days to now? I know there's tech and there's other things, but what do you think the biggest change is that you've seen?
Yeah, I think what I've seen, and maybe this is more obviously tech is making life so much easier and we can do so much more things. And we're not rolling drawings out that are getting wet and smudged and all that. But really, I think it is kind of the culture of the industry and the people side of it. Coming up through the union, it was very rules. You kind of follow it, you go through these steps. I like now when I hear a lot of the younger people or newer people to our industry and are coming up with ideas and they're brainstorming. Not to discount that wasn't there, but it feels like it's a little bit more inclusive and ideas are coming from a lot of different areas. And I think, I think we're seeing an insurgence into the trades a little bit. I don't know if we're quite there yet, but some of these people who maybe didn't want to go the traditional route are kind of coming this route, and we're getting a little bit of that. So definitely some cultural change in the field side in particular.
For sure. We got to keep banging that drum that the trades are a great path, And I mean, you're proof positive,
Yeah. College wasn't my thing, but it didn't mean I didn't know how to work hard and I didn't know how to earn the trust of people around me and lead people. And I think that's what I like about Curtain Walls. I know several stories like me of people who kind of grew with it, and it really kind of rewards those who are willing to work hard. And you don't see that everywhere.
Yeah, and then you look at some of the jobs that you have on pioneerglazing.com and you're like, wow. I mean, I did that.
Cool,
I had a part of that. I worked on a team with that. That leaves you a little breathless. So good. I like it. I agree. The culture, at least from I started in '91, and the whole listening to culture, understanding culture is different now, and it's better, much better. So good call by you. Halfway through each podcast, I usually break it up with a fun question. I have not asked this one in a while, so you get this one. Your favorite all-time can eat anytime food. What is the go-to for Paul Robinson that you can eat anytime? Your favorite food?
Man, I can eat anything pasta. It
Oh,
doesn't if it's got pasta in it, I don't care what it is. I love pasta. I try not to eat as much of it as I'm celebrating more years and birthdays,
yep.
but I can eat pasta anything. So
And
definitely comfort
red
food.
sauce or it doesn't matter the sauce as
I
long
like
as
a
you get
good
the
red
noodles.
sauce or a bolognese or just a spaghetti and meatballs, but I'll lasagna, I'll take any of it.
Nice,
But yeah.
nice. I can, and I'm with you. It's great, but boy, it takes it takes its toll. So
Yes, it does. Though. Yes, it does.
good choice. I like it. Pasta for Paul Robinson. That definitely works. A few more questions for you, my friend. I know you're a busy man. This one was kind of a fun one, and you probably looked at it when I sent you some of the questions ahead of time and said, "What are you doing to me?" But say that you become in an imaginary scenario CEO of the entire glass and glazing industry, and you have power over architects. You can communicate with anybody in the space. What's the biggest thing that you would change or you would do if you had that power to kind of oversee it all?
Yeah, from the architect standpoint, really it will just be, and I think it comes to us too in the industry, like we're working on the same thing, right? We're trying to come to the same win. Bring in the contractors early. Let them help you kind of bring these ideas together. When I think back to some of our most successful projects, we were brought in early and there was a trust that was put together between the architect and the design team. And it really just it cuts through all this submit, mark up, send back, revise,
Yeah.
submit, mark up, send back. And if we could just get that partnership, I think we're all trying to achieve the same thing. It doesn't have to be a battle.
Yeah. No, I again, it's been an issue. I think all of both of our careers. It's just trying to get that buy-in. It can make such a big difference if they would
And then
just go with it.
when you see it and you have it with somebody, it's amazing. It's amazing how well the project goes when there's this air of trust between the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, it's it definitely rolls much better. Very cool. I like it. Interesting for me is that we got BEC coming up. Obviously, you guys are headquartered in Cincinnati, not far from Louisville. You've been to BEC a lot. That's how I got to know you. You've moderated panels. You've spoke. You've been to quite a few. Um, Help me out. Why should people attend BEC? Because I mean, you're a guy that's been to them in all your different positions too. What's the value to BEC for people who may be deciding? When this initially airs, it's about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks before the show. Why should they pull the trigger?
Well, I think it's like anything. If you want to be the best at your craft or your trade, you got to surround yourself with the best. And when you listen to, obviously, there's great sessions going on. There's great speaking, but a lot of those moments in between, and you're hearing and you're figuring out the pulse of the industry. Right? We can listen to talk radio, we can listen to the news, but you're with the people who are the experts. You're with the people who feel it. And I mean, I have made so many relationships and friends out of people. I mean, yourself, Max, that I still talk to years later,
Hmm.
and it's kind of cool because our industry is like you cannot see somebody for a couple of years, and then when you see them, you pick up like you were just with them yesterday. And it's kind of cool to be around the people that are our industry. And
It,
then
it,
this year, it's in the Omni Hotel, which is one of our projects. So cheap plug, you can see one of our projects too.
I did not. I did not know that. I did not know that. So that's you could give people some hints on
I can give a
all the
tour, show you what works and doesn't work.
exactly. Very
But it's
very
hands down to people, Max. It's the
yeah.
people you meet in the long relationships, and just you do walk away feeling like you know a little bit more about your craft.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think you hit it perfectly. And for me, it's been I try to explain, but I'm so obviously biased. I mean, it's my
Yeah.
I live for it, and so people are just kind of discount me. But when they hear it from somebody like you, I think it has a little bit more weight. And I appreciate what you just said there. And you're right. I mean, there's nothing like the relationship aspect in this industry. Nothing like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, very cool. So a part of BEC is NGA, and Pioneer always steps up, which thank you on behalf of the industry and my role at NGA. Uh, and that's going to be tough. I mean, you got a lot of balls in the air. Your people are busy, but yet you make time to do things like this. What is it in the background? And this started obviously before you became CEO. This has kind of been a cultural thing with Pioneer for a few years.
Yes, yeah.
What got you going? And why do you do it? And because there are some people that are like, I'm not wasting my time with that stuff. But you guys have always stepped up. I'd love to know the thought process there.
Yeah, I think some of it's just ingrained in our culture here. It's more than just curtain wall. We do everything we can to make sure it's more than curtain wall. That includes community, that includes education, that includes the families, the extensions. And I think for us, it's when you have a group that's as strong as like NGA and they put on an event like BEC. Yes, you go and you volunteer and you speak, but man, it's the people who come up and talk to you after. You get so much more of it. And I really do think it's like anything in life where we serve. You get so much out of what you serve, and what you get back is so much more than you put in. But part of it is too is like what we do is pretty damn cool, right? It's structural, it's thermal, it's performance, it's aesthetics. We can drive by buildings and our kids think we built a giant building by ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's being passionate about what you do for a living and wanting that to be better in general, not just for yourself. And I do think that, that's kind of ingrained in us. And I think ingrained in a lot of people that you'll meet at BC.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate what you guys do. I think that makes a heck of a difference. And I'm with you. Anytime I see a building going up, if I can pull over and the job site isn't a complete mud pit, I will work my way over there to see who's doing the glazing. And especially for me being an old time fabricator, I gotta look at the label. I gotta see who's doing the
Where they
job
come
and
up
whose
with,
glass it
yeah.
is. So, but yeah, I think you're right. It is neat to be thought of like, wow, you had this part. Very cool. I've got Paul Robinson, CEO of Pioneer Cladding and Glazing Systems. See them online at pioneerglazing.com. You can also check them out on LinkedIn. There's always good stuff up there. So wrapping up, Paul, one big question for you, the market. And I know it's probably not the easiest question in the world. What are you seeing for the rest of 2026 into 2027? I hear a bunch of different things. I mean, it's all over the map. But I'm curious, what your gut is telling you and how you guys are feeling about the next year and a half.
Yeah, it's getting competitive. There's not as much out there, and a lot of people still chasing. I think what we are doing here at Pioneers, we've really kind of rolled out this campaign for 26. It's a back to basics campaign. Like, what made us great? What got us here? How do we kind of just get? We've always a pioneer. Like, how do we get 3% better? That's kind
Yeah.
of like our motto, our thing. So we've really kind of dove in on that. People aren't going to pay top dollar for things, so we have to find ways to be efficient. I actually think it's going to drive us to get better, and we'll all have a better product on the backside because of the way we do it. But it's getting tight. The competition is still they're doing a good job. Like, we're not going in and seeing people cut throats to get jobs and stuff. Everybody's kind of playing it right, but it's shrinking up a little bit. Very curious to see, this push in general contracting to battery plants and chip plants,
Yeah.
how that kind of impacts us long term, and where we start to see that kind of go next. But I know a lot of our general contractors we work with have kind of shifted their models, so we've kind of expanded our footprint a little bit to kind of maintain into it. But still seeing good competition, not scared, but
Good.
definitely getting tighter.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is right now there are a good chunk of companies that really know what they're doing, but it does when times get a little tighter, it gets a lot tougher. And so you do have to kind of do what you're doing. I love the attitude of get 3% better. Push where you can push, and also the data and battery storage. That is a big change.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm sure you're hearing from your generals that it's not like they're used to building
No.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
massive timelines, massive amounts of people in places. Is putting, it even puts a pressure on some of us trying to get employees and everything. So,
oof.
but I mean, the market always shifts. Curtain wall people are strong people.
Yep.
We shift, we model, we get with it, and we show up every year, no matter what. So, no matter what the storm is. So, I think our industry is going to be just fine.
You guys are the best. You're the best. Paul Robinson, CEO of Pioneer Cladding and Glazing Systems. Check them out at pioneerglazing.com. My friend, this was awesome. I love catching up with you. Look forward to seeing you at BEC and continue to connect and keep our friendship going. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Yes, sir. Great to see you, Tim.
Awesome. See you soon. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you there to Paul. And before that, Paul Robinson, Brad Thurman, Paul from Pioneer, Brad from GGI, super guests. And hopefully, you've gotten to this point of the podcast and you are planning on being at BEC and you'll see both of those people in person and you'll be able to chat them up. Good folks. So that's exciting there. Also, before we go, special thanks to my friends at FHC for their support. They have just opened up in the Northeast the new FHC New Jersey Supercenter. It's 120,000 square feet of manufacturing and distribution for that New York metro area. It's got everything that you want, and they got the customer service to back it up. You now have a choice with FHC, fhc-usa.com. Experience the difference, and thanks to them. As always, at the end of the podcast, some TV talk. We're going to Netflix for all three of these this time. It's a Netflix sort of day. First and foremost, the U.S. hockey team. It's a documentary Miracle, story of the 1980 U.S. hockey team. Really, really well put together. Even if you're not a hockey fan, even if you don't know the story of Miracle on Ice, or you may have seen the movie, this just is an incredible documentary. It'll hit you. It'll hit you hard. It's something to see, especially if you're a parent. Have Kleenex around. It's good stuff. Lincoln Lawyer is back on Netflix. I think season 3. Always enjoy that. That's some excellent empty calorie stuff. And also, I'm in the middle of a series on Netflix called His and Hers. The jury's still out. A couple episodes in. I don't know. But if you're watching that, let me know what you think. But I have it on the list. So Netflix stuff there. The doc on the U.S. hockey team. Lincoln Lawyer. His and Hers, and that's TV for you. All right, wrapping up. Again, we'll see you at BEC here very soon in Louisville. And next month, lined up a couple big guests. Once again, I have been really, really blessed, really fortunate, bringing some different faces, some really talented faces. And I thank everybody for listening, watching, supporting, being guests, and so on. So I appreciate that. Until I see you next time, thank you very much. And stay well, everybody. Stay warm, too. Thank you.
Oh, the music is stopped.